Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of Not a Linux Guru Guy channel. And this is Rick Koppel coming at you from Denver, Colorado. And today we're going to look at openSuse, which I had been intending to get to for some time now, and just today I'm finally getting to it. Partly because I got my writing computer that I installed Grund on last time. I had problems with it, Grund a bit. I'll explain that in a bit over on the other side of the intro, but first I wanted to let you know that I've installed openSuse on it, and I'm going to take you with me along my installation journey of that as best I can. So with that said, we'll get on with it. Yeah, so Grund Linux kind of failed me a little bit. Yeah, I think it's probably not quite ready for prime time. We'll see. There's problems I had with it was that not only did I have to install things that normally you don't install in most operating systems. I think it's an arch thing though, is keep it simple. Stupid logo that they have, but yeah, it keeps it somewhat too simple, especially for new users who wouldn't know how to do any of that. Yeah, they'd have a big learning curve to get ready to use a system like that. But even I had a problem that I ran into I couldn't figure out. So I decided, well, what the heck, and save time and heartache and install a new system on it. The problem that I have, well, I wanted to use my microphone on the computer. So I plugged the USB thing in and didn't show it. The USB function was picking up the USB part of it and the hardware part, but the sound card was not showing it at all. Wasn't picking up nothing. And I figured probably was missing a couple of files or something like that. Caused the sound card not to be able to figure that out. I mean, it had the whole everything was set up right. I tried several things on the internet and I couldn't get anywhere with it. So I finally said, I'm just going to install a new system. Sorry, Grinda. I like the dragon. Yeah, so, but yeah, so I gotta have a working system though. So, and it just seems like it's too simple in some ways, especially for new users. Even though I know how to do some of that stuff, I don't want to do it every time I install a new system. I don't have to go through all this friggin' world trying to get all this set in there. So at first I was thinking, well, what new system should I install on this computer? I thought about Fedora for a while because I really like Fedora, and it was a good distro, and I had it as my daily driver for my laptop. So maybe I should try it on there. But then I remembered I had intended to use openSuse, and I really wanted to use that and try it and see what it like, and spend some time with it as a computer driver thing. The only thing I'd done before was install it on a system, so I've been through the install process, but I hadn't really used it much beyond that. So I went to the website, which I'll show you here. Okay, here's their website, openSuse website, and it's www.opensuse.org. openSuse.org. And it's a maker's choice for sysadmins, developers, and desktop users. And I found out why to a certain degree, because maker's choice. Of course, it's a maker's choice. The makers of the system were wanting to use it, weren't they? Was the saying in software, eat your own. I can't remember anyway. It was saying in software that you use whatever you make. Have an acronym for it that fits, but anyway. So you have your choice here, Tumbleweed or Leap. Tumbleweed's like a rolling release, fast, integrated, stabilized, tested. Emphasize that, stabilized and tested. So I decided I was going to install Tumbleweed. I think I installed Leap last time when I did the installation. I just kind of wanted to see what it was like. And so I installed Leap last time. So you can download each one, either one you want. And that gives you more. Leap is more your like your Debian distribution style, where they have a stable version where they do it. And the testing, the Tumbleweed's more your rolling release, like Arch-based style. I chose Tumbleweed because I thought maybe it would be good. Stabilized said tested, so I said, yeah, that's for me. But we'll see how it goes. So you click install Tumbleweed or install Leap, whichever one you're going to use. And I went over here. Boom. openSuse 86.64 is what I installed. And I installed the network image, which is very small, 156 megabytes, not very big at all. It's like zero. So is that it? Boom. As opposed to this, the image over here, which is 4.3 gigabytes. Big difference, huh? So that's a pretty huge image there. Pretty big. So I'll pick this now. The downside is this probably install faster than this will, because this took about 45 minutes, 50 minutes to install, something like that. And anyway, you go here, you pick a mirror, and you select. Now, they have these metal links. I didn't try those. I'm not sure what they do exactly, but apparently it's new thing with me. Anyway, I picked the close mirror. Got one mirror which handles this country, US. So I think I did that one. Or this one here. Doesn't really go across the world. Yeah, so you download the ISO. I made a bootable CD out of it. Then I went ahead and put it on the computer. On the stick, and I put a stick on the computer. I boot it up, in which we'll get into in a minute here. Not to show you the process. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to show the installation on this went to a lot of links. All the video itself isn't that great because I had to use my webcam showing in a screen in an actual screen recorder type thing. It's kind of hard to do that on a computer showing when you're installing something on a computer itself instead of a virtual box. It's kind of hard to show the installation. I may go back and show the installation at a later point. The actual installation on VirtualBox when I get it in. But anyway, that's what I installed on my system. Now, what you also have choices of. And the net install is pretty cool, and you can choose which desktop you want to use. And we'll show you what I did on that. How I got Simul, even though Simul wasn't offered specifically. We have official installation cinnamon nonetheless. Even though you can do it on an installation, which I was kind of surprised. I mean, if you have an official installation, you're going to put it on your net installer. They didn't for some reason. So I'll show you in a minute what I had to do. And anyway, let's go back. You have this 8664, that was the system I installed. You also have i586, if you have that, I'm not sure what that goes to. There's Arch64, PPC64LE, and it gives some instructions on what to download, how to install it, release notes, license, full documentation. Take a look at that documentation so you can see what you got here. Verify your download for use. It tells you how to verify your downloads. Okay, so this is documentation. There's Leap, is you can download PDFs or a single HTML file or HTML or EPUB if you want to look at it on your tablet or something as a have it installed on there. The security guide, tuning guide, virtualization guide, the IOS guide, and release notes. So there's a lot of stuff here you can download, look through it. Lead 510. So yeah, there's a lot there you can look at. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you to a video that I made of my installation on my new computer when I just got this last weekend. And you'll get to see, once I get it all set up on there, the screenshots, screen recording I took of it. I wanted to warn you that the video of the installation, however, is not very high quality, let's put it that way. I had to shoot with my webcam and the screen kind of pointing up a little bit, so it's a little bit skewed. You'll see that in a minute, but I think it showed it enough where you at least tell what I was doing on there, give you an idea of installation. The only reason I wanted to show the installation is because it's different than most installations. And at first it confused me when I first went through it, so yeah, it may not be for a new user, I don't know, but depends, because the first time you install something you have to read through everything anyway, right? So, but it's a little bit confusing where they did it in some areas, in some ways. But overall, it works, and it's not too hard. It's a little bit different than standard Calamaris installer, but it's not too hard to ask some additional questions and inputs you have to put in. You'll see when we go through it. Why don't we do that right now? Let's go through it. And here we are on my Dragon Garuda Linux distro, and I'm getting ready to say bye-bye to the Dragon. Bye, Dragon. Yeah, we're getting ready to install openSuse on here, so we'll get it started and you can follow along. I want to show you some things on this installation. The reason I'm showing you this installation so that you can see what it's like. It's a little different than the standard Calamaris type installation, those kind of things. So let's see what I mean when we get into it. Let's do that. First, let's boot this up. Power and restart. Okay. There it is. There. Now I'm going to go to my, oops, USB flash disk is what I want on this one to install off the new openSuse on it. Okay, there's a light bulb. Right. Go from hard disk installation upgrade. Yeah, this installation doesn't apparently have a live option on it, so it's a net installer is what I installed on it. So we'll just start with installation and then install the sucker. Okay. Yeah, if I cut this part out, the part previous to that is just loading drivers. It took a long time, so I cut it out. Now we're getting an actual installation system. Updating the installer, adding repositories, field driver information, read driver information, detect current status, and all that. And have a licensing, blah 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 blah, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so this screws up your system. Is at your own risk. Load it up and partition it out or whatever you want. System have network, active network connection. Additional software is available online. Activate online repositories now. Why, yeah, do that. Why don't we? Say yes to that, of course. All right. Let's go online repositories. Okay, that looks good. Now, one of the problems I think, or I suspect, be an issue with some, so far it hasn't been too bulky, and you kind of have to stop because it's so different. You have to stop and read to figure out what you got to do next sometimes. I remember when I installed it, I must have installed the other system, so I don't know if this is any different with the network installer, but you had a lot of stuff to read, and it put a bunch of stuff over your screen, that kind of thing. Okay, here you choose your desktop. Right, system roles are predefined use cases with tailored systems like scenario. Desktop KD Plasma, desktop GNOME, desktop SP, that's generic desktop. Graphical system with reduced package set. This is a base for customized software selection. Okay. So it's like a bare bones type of desktop. Server, small set of package suitable for servers with text mode interface. And your transactional server, like a server role, but uses read-only root file system, provide automatic updates of the system without interfering with the running system. Interesting. Yeah, net installer, you have a lot of options here what to install, but not as many as I've seen on some. I mean, I've never seen generic server and transactional server listed as the option to install on these things, but as far as desktops, you got options. You got 4 basically. You got KD Plasma, GNOME, XSpace, XFCE, and generic, whatever generic means, is basically base for customized software selection. In other words, I guess you can select your own software on the end of it, your own desktop, and install that, install whatever you want on it. I assume is what that means. So I was kind of hoping for Cinnamon or something like that. XFCE is not bad. GNOME, I don't really care for GNOME that much. KD Plasma, I can deal with KD Plasma, but it's so bulky then I hate to install it. So I think maybe I'll go with generic, just see what that is. I'm curious a little bit what generic is. You with me on this? Let's do generic. Because I want to install Cinnamon on this so it's available to install. If it is not in openSuse, but we'll find out. Initial layout proposed with default guided subsetting. Changes to partitioning. Leave partition. Blah blah blah. Mount partition. How are you gonna mount the partition after you delete it? That doesn't make sense. Oh, SD3. Swap. Create partition. SDA2. 8 megabytes is BIOS boot partition. Okay, check. And then create partition SDA4 for root with BTRFS, ButterFS file system. 24 subvolume action. What does that mean? See details. So if you want to know what a 24 subvolume actions is, you can check that out. But I'm going to keep going. We'll go on this. Yeah, I have down here to have guided setup. Expert partitioner means if you know what you're doing with partitioning, you can do it all yourself. If you're guided, we're going to select that because I'm just kind of curious what that's like for new users. I could do the partitioning myself, but I'll do this. Select one or more hard drives. SDA, yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, the 3.73 gigabyte USB drive would be a poor substitute for that. We'll do that one. Okay, please select the disk to use as the root partition. Choose what to do with existing Linux partitions. Yeah, okay, you have options here. You can choose to not modify the partitions. You can remove if needed, but you want to modify it. At least put the system open source in this. A little silly if we didn't put the file system on there for openSuse. Remember, that's what we're doing when installing it. Remove even if not needed. I'll select, just see what it does, remove if needed. See if I think what it does, it'll probably keep the swap partition, probably keep the boot partition. Obviously it'll reduce it down to 8 gigabytes instead of the 512 I had on there initially with the Garunda installation, but 8's the minimum that you need for the boot. Remove if needed, so I'll select remove if needed. Choose what to do with other partitions. Remove if needed. Yeah. Okay. There are no other, it's all Linux partitions on there pretty much, so yeah. We'll go with that and see what happens. Enable volume management. Nope. Enable disk encryption. Nope. Password. Oh, that's if you encrypt it, you need password. So we go on. Partitioning scheme. However, a scheme for this thing. Okay, file system type, set up for the root partition. This is where all of your basic system files get stored, as well as your home directory. Unless you create a separate partition for the home directory, which we had to do expert partition, you can do that. Enable snapshots. Yeah, we enable snapshots. Btrfs is good about that. Pose separate home partition. Nope. See, that's where you can create a pose separate home partition if you wanted to. Pose separate swap partition. Yeah. Enlarge RAM size for suspend. Yeah, I think we need to do that. We got 16 gigabytes of RAM on here, so might as well use that. Okay. So now, see it changed it up. Change the partition. Delete partition SJ2. Delete partition SJ3. Create partition SJ2, 8 megabytes for BIOS boot partition. Create partition SJ3 for 216.79 gigabytes with the Btrfs file system. Create partition SJ4 for swap, almost 16 gigabytes better basically. Oh, it's got like about 15 and a half, a little 15 and a half. And 24 Sublime Actions again, so I'm curious what that is, but I'll learn about it later. So that's what that got us up does. It takes this and modifies it. When you're ready, hit next. Okay, that's a little bit different way it does that, but it makes some sense out of it. So now it's next scene, we see what it does. Okay, synchronizing with NTP server, openSuse pool, NTP org. Okay. Oh, now we're in USA, and no, I don't live in Eastern New York City. This map is more detailed than the Colomares, don't you think? Yeah. There you go, there's Colorado right there. Mountain Denver. That's selected. SA. Our clock set to UTC. Date and time set there. Okay. Next. Now user's full name. That'd be Rick Topple. Sorry, my hands aren't really working well today. Username Rick, password. Password. Okay, use this password for system administrator. Yeah, I like to use a different one for that. Keep on ring. Automatic login. No, I don't usually automatically log in on stuff. Okay. Password is too simple and it's not based on dictionary word. You have to use only lowercase letters for password. Yes. Okay, so if you have a weak password, it'll tell you have a weak password. Do you really want to use this? Really want to log? Yeah. Everybody knows I have a weak password now. I'll probably change it. Retrieving. Okay, now we got all this stuff. Now this is what I'm saying. You have to read through this stuff to figure out what you're doing, what's the next thing you got to take care of here. Okay, installation settings. Click the headline to make changes. So if you need to make changes on something you already set in place, then you go back and do that. Bootloader type, grub 2, trusted boot, disabled. Right boot, cache to DBA, devs, SDA, boot code, routed to BR. There's it. So I just hit install and it starts installing apparently. Once you read it. Form installation. Confirm, you want to confirm the installation? Yes, let's do this. That's going to start partitioning the hard drives and installing the system on there. I'll probably cut it off to the next part because this part probably is going to be boring. He's watching everything load up. I'm waiting to see if it actually starts cooking here. Starting installation. So I'll come back if I have a problem or error or situation that demands, or if it installs perfectly, then I'll let you know. There it is, installing. Pairing disk. Yeah, I kind of wanted to show you all that because I wanted to see how different the installation was on openSuse. It's a little bit different. It's not standard Calamars installer, obviously, but it's not too different. I mean, it's different in the way it organizes things and presents things. And there's a few questions there that ask you that don't ask you on most installations, but not too bad overall. So it's installing packages now, and then we'll see what it's like on the other end. I'll come back if I have something to report or if I have issues. You don't get to see them on most installers. You don't get to see all these people, these actions performed type thing and all that kind of thing. It's kind of cool. So I'll be back. System is rebooting. I think it rebooted. Yeah, it is. Okay, so basically it took about almost 50 minutes to install this puppy. And that's partly because you had to download a bunch of stuff. So since the net installer downloads pretty much most of the system, it takes a lot of time. So be interesting to compare this net installer speed with Debian or something like that, though. Interesting. I can't remember for sure how long it took Debian, but it's probably similar, about 50, 45 minutes, something like that. Anyway, I'm booting into Tumbleweed. Tumble. And we're going to see what we got here. Right here. There's my login screen. Can't see it very well on there, but I can from here. For the rest of it look good. Let's see. There you go. And this is openSuse, the generic desktop. So we're working on this. This is a screen for openSuse, generic desktop, they call it on there. We're going to install Cinnamon on it. Yay! And it's a pretty simple process from Tumbleweed or Leap, either one. Yeah, so we've increased size on this text so you can see it better.
And we're getting ready to try and install Cinnamon Desktop on here. Yay. Full functioning desktop. Now the way you do that is sudo zipper install and Cinnamon, spell it right, and it says to install also Cinnamon screensaver on here too. Apparently it's a recommended thing. This is different in that normally you put in the password for your user on sudos, but in openSuse you put in the root password, which I've made differently, so I had to figure that out when I was first installing stuff here. Yeah. So yeah, that's all it says it's going to install. Say yeah, let's install 413.5 megabytes. Yes. And away it blows. But when this is done, we'll then have all the plugins and Cinnamon desktop screensavers and sessions and all the stuff for Cinnamon desktop. Yeah, what I'm planning on doing with this desktop is, if everything works out, I'm going to use it for my daily driver for my writing computer for a while. See how I like it. See, what problems I encounter, what issues I encounter. With Garunda, I had other issues with installing the microphone, USB microphones on here, and the sound card wasn't picking them up or something. It's probably because of a missing software file. This sound card picked up this microphone when I plugged in a USB wireless microphone on what I'm talking on right now. And I think that it probably was missing a file or two from the install on Garunda. And that's why I wasn't picking up, and I could not find anything on the internet about what files to install or anything like that, or how to fix it. So therefore I picked the other option, which is install a different operating system. It works. Yeah, I really like the concept of Garunda, and I really like the dragon picture on there. But if you don't have key things that don't work out of the box, or at least with minimal input or install from the user, then you got problems with your system, I think. It's not quite ready. It's almost there, but it's not quite ready, I think, for prime time. The Ultimate installer didn't work, so I had to manually install my printer. I had to manually set it to enable it on System D. Then I had to install that, and then I had that one problem I just couldn't get past. And I was hoping to use OBS on this computer so I could record things on there or on here, whichever, my laptop or on there, whichever one I wanted to use. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to work that way. Installing Cinnamon, maybe it ain't done. It's done, yay. Now we should just be able to log out. Oh, well, it's going to kill screen recorder when I log out. So anyway, I'm going to log out and I'll log back in. I'll turn simple screen recorder back on. Hopefully, assuming it's still installed on Cinnamon desktop, I think it will be. We'll find out. Alright, here we are back. So Cinnamon desktop. I logged out and logged back in. Started simple screen recorder. This is what I got. This ahoy, this is openSuse basics. README documentation, get software, contribute, build openSuse. Yeah. You go to social media, reducing the scope of software. .opensuse.org. Anyway, a quick look at this. We got File Manager, Files, that would be Nemo, and the GNOME Terminal, which I installed, Firefox, and I have not installed anything on this except for simple screen recorder, so I can record this video that I'm doing. And got places, preferences, all your desktop settings, administration. It's got Yast and Yast add-on products, Yast alternatives, Yast Armor, Yast bootloader, and that's all I got in sound and video right now. Internet, you got Tiger VNC Viewer and Firefox. Accessories, you got virtual keyboard. That's it. That's all it's got. It's bare bones as you can get, pretty much. Pretty bare bones, huh? So anyway, that's my desktop for openSuse. I may keep it like this, but I'm going to install at least the stuff. I may make it sort of like my other laptop. We'll see. Anyway, that's openSuse with Cinnamon installed on it.
So that is openSuse with Cinnamon Desktop on it. And I got a lot of saw on there. As you can see, there's not much programs in there right now. Aside from a web browser, that's about it. About all you got other than the system files. You don't even really, I don't have a text editor on it yet. Unless I have Nano or something, but I haven't even checked that out. But yeah, I don't have a text editor, and I don't have a, I had to install GNOME Terminal on it, as you may have noticed. So I can increase the font size so you can see it well better. So what do I think of openSuse? Well, right now, and we'll see how it goes. But right now, it's working better than Garunda did as far as the microphone. I was able to plug my microphone in USB, it registered it, acknowledged it, the sound card saw it, and put it on, and it recorded, just like you'd hope, just like you'd expect it to. But so apparently, it was a Garunda problem that it couldn't access the USB on the sound card for some reason. Probably missing file or two or something in there. I don't know. You be the judge. Yeah. We'll see if I run any other difficulties or problems using openSuse. I already found out one problem to have, which I'm going to investigate, but there's options for it. But you maybe install it in snaps or flat packs or something. But it doesn't appear to have OBS Studio in the repositories. So I had to use Sound Recorder. I like to use OBS, but there you go. One of the things I run into, and it made me wonder how much other software I'm going to run into that I don't have on your repositories. Find out when I try to install the software that I'm going to have to install on it. Luckily, I have an install package. I'm going to have to make a zipper install package. But yeah, I got all this on, and I also got to upgrade the sucker too. I haven't upgraded it yet, but I've already installed a few things on it, so we'll see how it goes. But since it did a net install, it shouldn't be too out of date, I wouldn't think. Find out. Okay, so there's openSuse. I'll probably give you an update on it later on and tell you what with it, what issues I had with it, what things I like about it. We now interrupt this broadcast to bring the special announcement. openSuse had printer problems. Couldn't get it to install correctly on printer. I researched and I looked for ways to fix it. Couldn't find any. Some missing files somewhere, somehow. And I gave up. Too tired to mess with it. So I decided to do the easier fix and install something different. Sorry, openSuse. Seemed like a good distro, but the printer was screwed up. Yeah, so there you go. Can get the printer working. And for writing computer, I kind of need that, I think. So Yeah, I got Fedora installed on this computer, and as you can see by the screen that you're looking at, I installed Fedora on this machine, and it's running pretty well. The printer's all set, not too much trouble, and the microphone works as you're hearing me broadcast over this new computer right now. Woohoo! And there you go. Yeah, I won't bother going over all this stuff, but I do have something to tell you. The installation took a while to do, and I had some problems with that. So I'll tell you about that next time. Now return you to your regularly scheduled broadcast. I guess this would be a system the bare bones person would really love, because installing the generic desktop, installed a very minimal desktop, and installed a window manager for a desktop environment with some kind of minimal menu on there, probably a J menu or something like that. And so I had to install something on, and that went fine, and everything went swimmingly beautiful. Please like and subscribe, and click the bell for notifications if you want to get an update by email. So if you really like this video, or even if you minimally like it, or even if you just, it's okay, click the like button. And go down there and subscribe if you haven't already, and click the notification bell if you want to get notified of when I put new videos out, so I don't have a specific schedule I put them out. I just put them out when I put them out, and so far it's been about once a week approximately. No specific day I throw them out on, just whenever I do them and I get them done. It's kind of a hobby of mine, so to speak, and I don't have no big crew behind me working on stuff and all that thing. I kind of like it that way. I don't want to have workers and stuff like that. So I know several others like that. Old TB, so it's Old Tech Bloat. Old Tech Bloat's that way, and also Chris Cyrus is that way, I think. He just did a video where he showed to explain that on, so. And I'm definitely that way, so I don't have money to go pay a bunch of people to do stuff for me. And I've accumulated a few things here and there, and Christmas presents recently with this microphone setup and everything, so I don't need a lot. So I'm just fine the way I am. And I'll probably continue doing this for who knows how until it's no longer fun. And I figure the less pressure I put on myself, I'll give myself a weekly deadline or something like that. The more funner it's going to be. Yeah, so we'll see you later. Remember, may the Linux force be with you. Bye.